Well, greetings again. This is Dr. Bill White with the American Orthodontic Society, and I have a very interesting case here that I've gone over with you before, but there's some things in here that you really need to understand. This is on adult orthodontics, understanding how to use this Big Daddy arch wire and the things that we use with it. And also, there's cases where we've had teeth removed on an adult and the teeth are tilted over and you bringing them back in. You have to do a lot of different things here in adult orthodontics. And so I think that adult orthodontics ought to be done. There's just a world of it out there that people are not doing it, and they're not teaching it really in the orthodontic schools, not very many of them, at least in the way I understand it. And so I want more of this to be done. There's just worlds of it out there that people can do. And let's look at a good case here, and I'll start off here showing this lady. Here she, at this point, when we started, you can see the difference in the facial structure, and you can see the little problems that we've got with the teeth down around the mouth in this area. You can see that. Let's go to the side, so to her model views, and she's had a tooth out down in this area. The 6-year molars are gone, and these teeth have drifted together, but you've got the upper molars are hitting inside the lower molar there, and they tend to chew their cheek with that. And out at the anterior part, this is class 1 though. It's in a good class at that point. Let's look at the other side. Well, this is the anterior part, and you see the center line is on, everything is lined up, and she has a bridge over on the right side of the mouth where we just hook the bridge up as this one big tooth to move it. And we're going to expand this lower arch and the big upper arch too. Now you can see where this tooth is meeting in a crossbite, and we've got a bridge down here. There's a lot of stuff like this in adult orthodontics, but you can move these teeth as long as people live, and you can do all sorts of things with adult teeth, and I want people to understand that. And this large arch wire that we use to expand the arch, like we're going to expand this arch way on out, something like that. And we'll show that at the end how we did it. And this is also brought out. We brought this out with the arch wires and had some effect on that. Now we've shown it over several years, a few years after we finish the case. We show that. Now this was the bridge that we put, that was in her mouth. I didn't put the bridge in, and these are the teeth that have moved up, and there's a 6-year molar gone in that area right there. Now we level all that out, and if you are going to expand the upper or lower teeth to any extent, you have to put a rectangular wire, work into the rectangular wire so you can do that. Not only these adults, we drop the wire lower, and it's down close where you don't see that very much. Now, I want to point out something on, I'm going to just get a white screen here, and if you're putting the bracket lower, say those lower anterior teeth look something like this, and if you we're putting the bracket up here, and maybe it's set to go straight in, and you move down here, you change the torque in it. In other words, it will tend to move the crown in and the root out a little bit, but the root's in the bone, so it'll be a negative torque if you drop it down. So you have to kind of compensate for that. If you put your brackets down real low on the adult's teeth, they have a lot of crown length this big, and you can put them down there where you don't even see them, as long as you adjust the torque that you put in the arch wire that you slip in there. I'm going to go on here now, and this is the adult. Now we're working on a bridge. We just put one big bracket bonded onto this bridge, and we can move the bridge as if it were a four-legged tooth, like a table, moving it in there. And we use these small brackets when people really want this porcelain brackets. We can use them, but I'd rather use little bitty brackets back here. But we put this case on. They requested these porcelain brackets, so we're using them. Now let's go on here to another view, and this is, we get this straightened out, and you have to put torque in where you're using this large arch wire to expand it. If you don't, let me kind of illustrate that a little bit here. Like if you've got a molar of the tooth like this coming down, maybe the roots coming down like this, and you're going to expand this tooth out, and you put this large arch wire in there, you're going to have the small wire, the rectangular wire, and put torque in it. So, and if it's on the lower arch, we would put the torque, kind of progressive torque, and you'd put that into the slot. If you bend this down and you slip it in there, it's going to tend to push this crown in this direction. The teeth, the roots are in the bone structure, so they don't move as good. If you just put this is buccal root torque, where we're going to bring these roots out, but if you don't do anything but put the arch wire in there, you pull that arch wire down flat, but it's going to tend to move this up in this way, and it can't move the roots out much. It'll bring the crown in. In other words, your crown would be somewhere like that. Now, to get this to overpower the power of the torque in the wire, we've got this large arch wire that we come on top of that, and it won't let the crown go in. So what it ends up, you expand both upper and lower part of the tooth. So the tooth would end up with the roots and everything out in this direction. If you do that with a large arch wire, you're going to expand anybody's teeth. I don't care how old they are, as long as they're not ankylosed, you can break those loose and move them also there. So let's go on from that. Now, this is the large arch wire that you put in here. Now you make this wire, I use an 036, let me see, we use an 03, it's not very good, 6 or an 040. In other words, that's 40 thousandths, that's 36 thousandths wire. And I think that I use 018 bracket slots, a very small wire. But when we need to do a big job, we just come on and add it over the top, and that expansion, we can gain that with the Big Daddy or these large overlay arch wires. And you can tell exactly you have to make the arch wire fit what you want. And now you take it and expand it out. And usually we'll spread the large wire like this about an inch or more be about a half inch on each side. And you can take a Doctrix gauge, something like this. I hope you can see this. You can push in on this and you can tell exactly how much force this has on it. It takes to that wire to pull out. And you could expand any kind of thing with it. But it would just bring the crown out if you didn't have that buckle root torque to bring the roots out. So I'm going to go, and I hope you understand that feature. So we're expanding this, and I'll show you how much we did later at the end of this. Now you have two arch wires. You got the big one and the little one underneath it. You can see the small wire in here. Now, I don't think that's a rectangular wire, but we would put a rectangular wire with some buckle root torque so that this brings the root and the crown out at the same time. Now this is a bridge, and we just bonded a bracket in the middle, and this is the crown, and this is the crown, and we tried to keep this so you wouldn't have to make another bridge. So we brought it out in that fashion. Now this is the rectangular wire we've got in there now, and we've got the buckle root torque, and we'll come on top of that with a Big Daddy arch wire that carries that out. Now this is the, further on down the line we show you the rectangular wire in it at that point. And there's the both rectangle, well, can't tell on the bottom arch. Now we'll bring that, expand that out. Now this is the bridge right here, and this we're trying to elevate those roots and bring them up forward over here where we're missing a tooth. I'll show that on the X-ray in a minute. Try to rush through this, and we'll expand that over. Now here is the case after we finished. This is before we started, it looked like that, and after we finished, it looked like the one on the right side. And you can tell we've expanded this. Now this is the side. We brought this side over here before, and here it's not a lot different, but when you look straight down at it, it'll show you the difference in there. Now over here, we've got she's crowned a couple of teeth on there after we got through with that. Now this was the upper arch when we started. This tooth was out, and this was pretty bad, and we expanded that out, and they put a crown on this tooth right here, brought it in there in space, and this tooth has a crown already. Now, and this is the bottom arch where the bridge was, and we still keep the same bridge, and we've expanded it to some extent. Now, this is the X-rays when we started. She had this tooth removed when she was apparently a little girl, and this one was removed, and I don't know whether this is a 12-year molar or a wisdom tooth. Over here we've got the wisdom tooth and the 12-year molar leaned over here. We're going to try to bring them forward in here so you can look at, we bring this in and flatten that out to some extent. So here's the final part where we had moved that to some extent. We didn't really try to bring it all the way up. The crown is kind of round off on that portion, and the bridge is moved in to the other side. Now, this is the appearance of the lady's face. And this was when we started. You see it's a little bit on the full side. Now it's back some, and we reduced the facial height slightly in there. Now look at how it looks from this side. This is the finished part. These are finished pictures. And you can see teeth in the back side of the mouth here. It filled that in good. And there's just a world of this adult orthodontics out there. And we ought to be doing this adult stuff. Now, there are going to be problems with it, and you work your way around the problems you have. But this is where there's just a tremendous field of orthodontics that's not being done. And these people, a lot of them are quite wealthy, and they want to straighten their teeth out, learn how to do adult orthodontics. I thank you for watching, and I hope you got something from this video that'll help you in doing your work on people. And we're just interested in doing really good, solid orthodontics, and I want it to be done all over the world, that people can know what can be done with your teeth. Thank you for watching. I'll say goodbye and hope to see you again.